and welcome to Third Crazy Art Class with Gerald, Savine, lesson number 65. We're going to continue painting the petals on these flowers for the next session. I should have done this a bit sooner, I'm afraid, because I want to paint some of the petals on the top flower. But for the moment we've still got dark under there, we've got some dark under here, because this is still on the bottom flower, so the colour will be much darker. And again the petal here, working their way around, and again pulling up, coming underneath here, because again it's been overshadowed by the petals of the flower above. So there we go, we just can just tidy the edge up there a little bit. Can make it a bit lighter towards here, because the light is coming out from underneath here, so we can just thin the paint down a bit here, so a little bit more light on it. So all those have now been painted. We'll worry about those another time. You can, again, from what we've been doing so far, hopefully you can see we can work out. Again, just very quickly, where the leaves are coming, petals are coming against the flower centre, just make it a little bit darker. And then just sort of, it is naturally, when you see the photograph, you can see they always look just that little bit darker under here. Right, so now then, I won't do these ones at the moment because we've only just painted there. So, but again here, looking at that now, these are quite a little, because it's on top. The light's catching them, so the colour is much lighter. So here I put more water in, and I'm going to paint these ones here to start off with. So can you see how much lighter this is? It's almost, I suppose you can almost say you can't see the colour. I suppose just a little bit more into it. That's lighter there. Now I'm going to, again, just here, I'm going to pop a little bit of darker in. Again, it's being partly overshadowed by the one on top of it. But again, I'm just being careful, just pull the colour around a little bit. Now again, I'm going to do the same here. Really quite thin. Coming round. Again, I know I'm sort of working back to front here, the way I would normally say, but again here we can just drop in a little bit of darker colouring there. And again, because it's damp, it just bleeds all by itself. Missing this one. Now this one under here, again it's light, but it's also being overshadowed by this petal here. So we're going to put the lighter colouring in first. Pick up a little bit of the stronger pigment and just tickle it into the top. You can see how it's just running down all by itself. You don't have to work hard with it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of colour here, because it's picking up the shadow from the one above. Again, I'm just drying my brush out. It's just a little damp, but again, I can just tickle the paint here just to soften the edge down, so we don't get any hard edges. Again, we're letting it dry. I think I should take a chance here. I'm going to put the colouring onto this one. Again, these ones are still a bit lighter. Again, which is good, because it again shows you a variety of against the flower below. But I'm going to be a bit more careful than I have there. Again, pulling the colour down, it thins it out. But again, I will pick up some of the secondary, what I call secondary pigment, just a dab of colour in there. And again here, wash the brush out, get most of the water off. And then just tip of the brush, pull the colour along. So we're going to work our way around. Now what I should have done is look at the timer before we started. Good. My very helpful assistant was my dear wife. did see the time, so she's going to keep me informed. So every now and again you'll hear a nudge, a verbal nudge. I hope you enjoy doing these, and I hope you found them very helpful. I have been enjoying, or even my wife's been enjoying, I think, doing the filming of doing these. Things seem to be changing at the moment, don't they? We're beginning to think about when we might be starting the classes again. We're beginning to think about starting up again in August. I think by then, the way we've planning things out, we should be all right and safe and secure. Now I'm just going to check on that one. It's really quite light, that one there, isn't it? It's catching the light. Because this one's it's going the other way to some extent, and it's really is catching the light. So again here, putting the lighter colouring on. Again, as I said before, hopefully you will. I won't be doing all these petals now. You'll have to spend some time yourself doing that. But again, we'll show you before we come to the end of this session. We'll just show you again a close up of the original photograph, and hopefully that'll give you a reminder of where things are and how they're working. Now, so at the moment, I'm still working with every other petal. I think that's beginning to be dry. So this one can be, I'm just going to go in there a little bit richer with this one here. Hopefully it doesn't bleed into the petal above. So we've got 8 minutes left to get this going. Now what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to come around. Again, it's important, if you can, is to take your brush strokes, the shapes you want to go. So we're curving round here, and it's amazing how this sort of thing shows up. When it's dry, I'm going to put a little bit of darker onto that one. Now again, I'm just looking at that. There is just a little bit here where the colour's slightly different because there's a bend in the petal, and it's caused a shadow. And then we'll just pull some of that around. Again, where you've got the veining, which we can improve on later on. And again, I'm going to just go in with a slightly darker, richer colouring just inside there as well. So it just begins to come together. Again, the next one along, I'm going to go with slightly stronger colouring. But again, and this one should be coming from that way really, but there we go. Coming down, washing the brush out, getting the water off the brush. Coming round this way now, so we're down, round. It's amazing how and I've said this many times before, how you apply the paint with your brush really shows up. And again, I'm just going to tickle a bit of colour into there. See, by doing that, we've given a bit more character to the petal. But I can do the same with this one up here as well, where there's a little bit of a fold, as it were. So the change of colour in the petals is down to the light catching the petals. So try to remember that. Again here, this is slightly darker there because it's getting a bit of shadow from the petal above it. But also, there is again, as we have with this one, there's a little bit more colour there because of the shadow being created by the fact the petal is bending over. Later on we can put some slightly stronger colouring into that. Right, got 5 minutes to go. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to paint this one here. Now this one's it's a bit of an in-betweener, this one. It's not as, it's darker than these, but it's not as dark as that one underneath there, which is part of the other flower. So I need to try and get that distinction. In fact, what we'll do is here, to get the real distinction between the two petals, we'll make this one a little bit darker, this one here, which is part of that flower. But it's just a little bit darker than, so I'm just going to drop in, sort of what I call tickling the colour in, really, using the tip of the brush. Now I can't do that one, but I can do this one. Again, it's underneath, so again, by making that just a little bit richer colour, you can make it separate from this one and this one. In fact, I could just put a little bit more colour in, especially up just under here. Now we'll shortly be running out of time. I hope that you can pick up from this how to do the petals, and if you carry on round with them, and then when we come to doing the next sessions, I hope to get it finished within, the whole thing finished fairly soon. We will do the centre. It'll probably be only one of them to start off with, and you'll be able to do hopefully get the lesson to do what you should be doing for the other one, and getting the bee painted. But again, we're just about coming up to time, I think. We've still got a couple of minutes to go, and that's all right then, so we get a bit more in. I'm going to, right, I think I'm going to do this one next. Again, here it's lighter than the ones under here. Now, in fact, looking at the photograph again, this one would be darker than these ones, but the ones underneath, the bottom flower, in fact the colour there is not really dark enough. So what I'm going to have to do is I will put a bit more colour in, because we're sort of working, no, I better not, but I'll be very careful here. I think that's part of that one there. We've decided that this one is part of that flower, so it doesn't bleed. A bit more colour under there, so it just gives a bit of interest as well. Again, just tickle up there. And again, just a bit more colour into there. This is quite sort of what I call the ribbing, for want of a better way of putting it, is quite noticeable on one or two of those petals. So again, you can, by looking at it, I think if we can, I think we're getting towards the end of the session now. I think as soon as Janice thinks we're just about to finish, perhaps you can look at the original flower painting again, the photograph. Look at the painting here quickly before the time runs out. And I think we have to call that a session now. So we'll call that a session for now, and we'll look forward to seeing you again to get the rest of it finished. Okay.